welcome to Josie's Joyful Journey, where I show food preservation in a small kitchen, along with some other fun tidbits along the way. Today we are going to build on that chicken stock with the cooked chicken, and we are going to create a vegetable blend that's pre-seasoned in order to add it to the soup or so many other dishes. You'll see just how versatile this is because it is a classic Mirepoix, which is onions, carrots, and celery. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook them up. We're going to also be adding the seasoning, and then we will be freezing it. That way you will have it at the ready, and however much you need, you'll be able to just grab it and add it to your recipes. So let's get started. So to start out, we're going to chop the onion, and I did get, well, quite a lot already chopped up. But what we're going to do is I did the cuts and just do a quick little dice. Get those in there. And then for the carrots, set that aside. For the carrots, they're already peeled, and you'll want to cut it into pieces that are a lot easier to handle, and you cut it in half. That way you have a flat surface. And then you just cut like this, and really it's flexible as how big or small you want these dices. And I'm sure everyone heard my notification. I know there are those that remember that. So you just dice it up. And get those set aside. And then the same thing with the celery. You're going to want to cut it into smaller pieces that are easier to manage. And then dicing celery is actually really easy. It's pretty much the same as the carrots, minus it being a vegetable that wants to roll away from you. You just dice it up. And then I've got the celery over here as I just throw stuff everywhere. Now, garlic really depends on how small you want the dices. But what I found works is for a large clove like this, I'm gonna very carefully cut it in half. Just like that. Now I know that everyone has their own way. And if you have a garlic press, use it. Absolutely. That's actually what I did with most of the garlic. You can tell the difference because it's less of a dice and more of a mush. But it's getting cooked, so it doesn't matter. And I'm not really going by a recipe. Normally with a Mirepoix, it's going to be roughly equal amounts. Here's the thing, some people don't like celery quite as much. I don't like having the celery be a prominent flavor, and it is pretty strong when it's cooked. So I go heavier on the onions and carrots than I do the celery. But I still have a good amount in there. And then for the spices, I have thyme, oregano. What else do I have in here? So for the spices, I already have those ready to go as well. I have parsley, thyme, and oregano, along with some fresh ground salt and pepper. So I finished getting everything prepped and ready to go. I have my pot here nice and hot, and just any neutral oil. I like avocado oil for things like this because I know it does tend to get hot, and avocado oil works well with high heat. So we're gonna throw the onions in there. That startled my dog, Jolie. Okay. And we just want to give the onions a bit of a head start. And then we are going to add in the carrots. Ooh, this is going to be a very full pot right here. And the celery. And we want these to cook until they are mostly softened. Really depends on your preference. And we will just keep on going with this. And this is going to take a few minutes because carrots especially take a little bit of time to get them to that right texture. So this is just about done. At this point, I'm going to be adding the garlic. And the thing with garlic, you definitely do not want to burn it. The key is that once you can smell the garlic, that's when you stop cooking it. And ooh, I wish you could smell this right now. It is amazing. And I haven't even added the herbs yet. All right, I can smell that garlic now. So here's where we add in the herbs, and what we're going to do is we're going to bloom the herbs just really briefly. And what that's going to do is just really enhance the flavors. And then it also allows those veggies to get nicely coated in these herbs. Oh man, this smells so good. And before doing this, I had tried this out, making some soup for my husband when he wasn't feeling well, and just to see how well this would work before I decided to show y'all how to do it. And it worked out so well. So I'm going to take that off the heat. I'm going to let that cool off, and then I will show you what we can do with this once it's cooled off to get it nice and frozen without it being a solid brick. Because I'm sure so many of you have gone to freeze things and it's almost not even usable because it just kind of freezes together and creates this brick. I'm going to show you how to prevent that. So I'll be back when this is cooled off enough for us to start that. This is all nice and cooled off. Look at how glorious this looks. Absolutely amazing. And it's so versatile. You can add this to so many different recipes. So here is the trick. You get a baking sheet. I used to do this years ago when I lived in an apartment, and I would get pomegranates and papayas. I would de-seed the pomegranates, lay the arils out on a baking sheet and freeze them and keep them in a baggie so that I could add them to my smoothies. And I did the same thing with papaya. I'd chunk up the papaya, put it on a baking sheet, freeze it, and then that way they're more individual pieces that are frozen, and then once it is frozen, you can break it up as you're putting it in the baggie. That just makes everything so convenient, and you don't end up with a solid chunk. And then here's the other thing. I chopped up so many onions when I was preparing for this. I mean, that's a lot. And so what I will end up doing with this is the exact same thing. I'll take the onions, lay it out on the baking sheet, throw that in the freezer as well. And now if you're just using like the above your fridge freezer, you still should be able to do this where you just kind of, I don't know if you can really see this or not, but you can alternate them like this so that they're not nesting together. It'll let airflow come in there, and it'll be, then no matter how much you make, you can actually get all of it frozen and get it into that freezer in a baggie. So I really hope this helps. I know that this is going to help me out with my family, so I'm glad that you were able to come along on this journey with me. And join me again next week as I figure something else out to show you guys. And don't forget, life is a journey, so let's make it joyful. See you later. Bye.